I have made videos about how to get rid of nasal sound, and you may have heard don't sing nasally. Well, the question is nasal sound always bad? Hi and welcome to today's video. My name is Freya. I have been singing professionally in opera, musical theater, jazz, pop, rock, and everything in between for the past 20 years, and I've been coaching for that long. I really started being on stage as a child, and I just love sharing my experience in coaching and in singing myself. Nasal sound, there's resonance, okay? Let's just think about what parts resonate as you sing. So we call it the mask. I have videos about that too. And then we have those nasal cavities right here, the sinuses. There are hollow spaces. And it's almost like, do this. Hello. See how that changes the sound when you're just speaking into the open room or doing this? Hello. Because basically you're using your hands to kind of bundle the sound waves. So what happens when you sing into those cavities here, the empty spaces, it's like a classical guitar. You have that hollow body that amplifies the sound waves that are created by the strings. In this case, the hollow spaces can amplify the sounds that are created by the vocal cords. So what we want to do, of course, is to get that in as many spaces as possible. So when it comes to resonance, you can either have more nasal space resonance or less, and you can kind of play with it. It all has to do with that pharyngeal space and how open or closed it is. So you can mix in nasal resonance more or less. There are nasal sounds which an M or an N has a lot of nasal resonance. There's nothing you can do about it. It always will have that amount of nasal resonance, but you can make a test right here. You can either have all the way just nasal ring, which really doesn't even happen unless you also have some opening in the pharyngeal area there, the back of your throat. Pinch your nose and sing an M, which then the air can only escape through your nose, and you can go So as soon as you pinch your nose, nothing comes out because air can't go anywhere. It can't move in or out because your mouth is closed and your nose is closed. So on an M, there's lots of nasal resonance naturally because the sound waves have to travel through this nasal area there. However, you can add non-nasal resonance to that. So I can either sing an So what happened now is like my tongue was glued to the top of the roof of my mouth, the hard palate we call it. Basically, I didn't create space inside of my mouth, which could be a really large hollow space, and I just closed that up. I can open it up. So now, besides the nasal resonance, I'm also adding mask resonance, which means like the sound waves can actually go in more places. Versus See how that sounds so different? It also feels very different. And how much nasal resonance you're going to mix into anything depends on your preferences of what you want to create sound-wise and how trained you are. That soft palate, that pharyngeal space, that opening inside of your mouth, getting the tongue out of the way, that regulates how much nasal resonance you're adding or not adding. So I could sing with more nasal resonance. If I want a more edgy, sharper sound, I'm going to add a little more nasal resonance. If I want a more open sound, which happens like in a lot of classical music, if I were like a tenor, I would sing more like, I won't sing more open. And then I'm just basically trying to get as much tall space as possible then, to minimize nasal resonance.
If you're looking for a way to help you stay on track when it comes to singing, whether it's technique, mindset, or motivation, in my online singing school, you will not only have access to all of my pre-created video courses, which includes more than 200 video lessons, but you'll also have access to an amazing community of like-minded people, singers from all over the world who love music. You will also have the opportunity to get personal feedback from me during our monthly group coaching session. You can dive into all of my courses like Music Theory for Singers, How to Sing Opera, Mastering Pop Ballads, the Vocal Warm-Ups Vault, the Vocal Troubleshooting Guide, Back to Basics, Perfect Beginnings, and more. Check out the link below, and I hope to see you on the inside.
There's always going to be some amount of nasal resonance naturally because you will have nasal sounds. All the M's, all the N's, all the NG's like in sing. These have naturally a lot of nasal ring. However, don't just depend on the nasal ring. If you only have nasal ring, you're going to sound, it's very choked off. So you always want to mix that with openness in the back of your throat. And you can play with the amount. Na, 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 na. It's higher larynx, also more nasal sound. Na, 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 na. Less nasal resonance, more tall space in the pharynx there. And it's all up to you. You have to know how to kind of regulate that because that's going to help you in voice colors and expressiveness and also in minimizing the strain. If you depend on a lot of nasal resonance, you're going to have to struggle a lot because if you do too much of it, you're going to have to counteract this by pushing outward more and putting more weight against your vocal cords. It's almost like you subconsciously try to compensate for the resonance that is lacking elsewhere because if it's only coming through the nose, you feel like someone's choking you. So no. Nasal resonance is not always bad. A nasal sound, if it's not going too far, is actually quite nice. And depending on the genre, a lot of kind of musical theater, like you go to Legally Blonde or something like that. I am so much better than before. It's not, I am so much better. I don't want to get too dark. So it's more nasal ring in this kind of thing. Oh yeah, if I want to play that blonde girl, right? It's like, I am so much better than before. I don't want to sing a classical piece. Caro mio ben, credimi almen. So if I were a tenor, keep that in mind and then you can play with it. It becomes really fun when you get the hang of those muscles that really regulate that. And I do have videos about that, how to sing with an open throat, and how to feel the soft palate. You can check it. I have the links below. And until next time, my friend, always keep a song in your heart and always keep on singing.